The first couple bars of a great sitcom theme song could immediately let you know if it was going to be a must-see TV Thursday or a TGIF in good time. But with fewer and fewer sitcoms, those theme songs are becoming less iconic. So which sitcom theme songs are as memorable as their TV show counterparts? I'm Thom Tran, and this is Comedy on 11, my new web show and podcast about comedy and music, and today we're taking a look at some of the greatest sitcom theme songs in TV history. Now before we get started, please hit the like button, subscribe to the show, and share it with your friends. Number 10, Happy Days. Airing on ABC from 1974 to 1984, the theme song for Happy Days was written by Norman Gimbel and Charles Fox and was performed by Pratt and McLean. This theme song was an anthem of the 1950s, nostalgia for a show made in the 70s, about the 50s, watched in the 80s, and still confusing Gen Z today. Happy Days was basically, what if your dad wrote Grease, but like less creepy and problematic. It gave us the Fonz, who could start a jukebox with a punch but somehow couldn't keep his own apartment, and it's where we got the phrase, jumping the shark, when Fonz water skis and jumps over a shark in Season 5, Episode 3, which originally aired on September 20th, 1977. Number 9, Three's Company. Yo, the 70s were wild. The long-running ABC sitcom starred John Ritter as Jack Tripper, a guy who pretended to be gay to live with two women, and the theme song was composed by Joe Raposo, the same guy who wrote Sesame Street, so, you know, samesies. It was also sung by Julia Rinker and Ray Charles, but not the Ray Charles, you know, this guy was not blind. Three's Company was another hit for ABC, running from 1977 to 1984, and made a star of Ritter and his co-stars Suzanne Summers and Joyce DeWitt. The song's lyrics prepped you for the hijinks of a straight guy pretending to be a gay guy because that was the only way to afford rent in the 1970s. The theme song started with a deep voice 70s, "Come and knock on our door," and you were immediately put into a groovy vibe in a decade where the adventures of two girls and a guy wasn't really acceptable on network TV, but they did it somehow. Number 8, Growing Pains. Another ABC show. Airing from 1985 to 1992, the Growing Pains theme song was written by John Bettis and Steve Dorff and performed by B.J. Thomas and Jennifer Warnes, and then later, Dusty Springfield. The song said, "Let's be sappy," but like, aggressively sappy. Random fact, Steve Dorff, who co-wrote this song, is the father of actor Stephen Dorff from the Wesley Snipes Blade movie.
There's only been one Blade. There's only ever going to be one Blade.
Growing Pains was basically a white-collar Roseanne starring Alan Thicke, who was either a TV dad or a sentient turtleneck. The show centered around the Seaver family, a suburban family with 3 and then 4 kids later on when the ratings started to drop. Fun fact, Ashley Johnson, the youngest Seaver kid, is also in the MCU. She played Beth, a waitress in The Avengers. One of the great tragedies of this show is that the character of Boner, who was played by Andrew Koenig, who we lost in 2010, and was the son of Star Trek star Walter Koenig, was clearly referenced in WandaVision with the character of Ralph Boner, played by Evan Peters.
Boner.
And I never saw this referenced in any nerd videos, and I watch a lot of nerd videos. Also, don't just search boner and actor in Google at work. You will get a lot of things that you don't want, unless you're into that. But if you're not, you gotta be really specific with Google. Number 7, Gilligan's Island. Hey look, a show not on ABC. Spending 3 seasons on CBS from 1964 to 1967, The Ballad of Gilligan's Isle, the actual name of the show's theme song, was written by Sherwood Schwartz, awesome name by the way, and George Weil. They must have been like, hey, let's make sure people know what this show is about, like from the jump. The song did all the heavy lifting. Look, they were on a boat, now they're on an island, and for some reason a millionaire brought a suitcase full of cash to a 3-hour tour. Also, if the professor could make a radio out of coconuts, why couldn't he patch a hole in a boat? Fun fact, my comedian buddy, Samantha Hale, is the granddaughter of actor Alan Hale Jr., who played the skipper on the show. Number 6, The Golden Girls. Have you ever bid on something on eBay that you were sure you weren't going to win, but then you did, and now you've spent $140 on an autographed Golden Girls photo? No? Just me? Sure, okay. Running on NBC from 1985 to 1992, the Golden Girls served up sass, cheesecake, and more shade than a Florida palm tree. The theme song was written by Andrew Gold and sung by Cindy Fee. Thank You for Being a Friend was the sweetest guilt trip song ever. Now, for a while, I thought Betty White was a Highlander.
There can be only one.
Outliving the entire cast until her passing on December 31st, 2021, just a couple weeks shy of her 100th birthday. Number 5, The Addams Family. There are only a few songs I can think of that if you hum a couple of bars of the tune, the audience will physically reply. Watch. Da-na-na-na. You did it, didn't you? Yeah, you did. Airing on ABC from 1964 to 1966, The Addams Family got their theme song from Vic Mizzy, who wrote this banger, which is basically the Macarena with a hint of Rockwell's I Always Feel Like Someone's Watching Me. The show asked, what if the Munsters had more money and were kinkier than swingers in a Hot Topic store? And it made us all question why Morticia and Gomez were the healthiest married couple on television. Number 4, The Jeffersons. If you're a fan of Norman Lear-created mid-70s sitcoms, you may know Janae Dubois as Wiloma Woods from Good Times. But did you also know that she co-wrote the theme song to another one of Lear's hit shows, The Jeffersons? Along with co-writer Jeff Barry, Dubois penned the catchy tune over the course of a weekend. According to Dubois herself, she approached Lear on the set of Good Times and she said that she was bored. She told the showrunner that she was bored sitting around on set, waiting to say just a few lines every episode. She told him that she could write and sing music. Lear gave her a brief synopsis of what would become The Jeffersons, which itself was a spin-off of another one of Norman Lear's shows, All in the Family. Lear, who was also a U.S. Army vet in World War II, was like the Greg Berlanti of the 1970s sitcom era, creating sitcom universes before it was cool. The conversation was had on a Thursday, and Dubois reportedly went home and returned on a Monday with what became the iconic theme song. Dubois would go on to sing the track heard at the top of every episode, and as she put it, also got a little piece of that pie. Number 3, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yes, Will Smith had a successful career as a rapper pre-Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but the NBC hit sitcom launched him into stardom. Airing from 1990 to 1996, the theme song, written by Smith and his DJ, Jazzy Jeff, was another example of, let's make sure the audience is caught up on the plot from go. As the lyrics go, the show centered around Smith's character, Will, being shipped off to live with his rich aunt and uncle in Bel Air after getting into a fight. It was also my first memory of a fourth wall break, when they joked about Aunt Viv's character being recast after the 3rd season. They referenced it without referencing it in the way the MCU does every time they need a new Rhodey or Thunderbolt Ross.
Look, it's me. I'm here to deal with it.
The theme song also has the distinction of being the reason you can't even mention West Philadelphia in normal conversation without someone somewhere in the world uttering, "Born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days." Number 2, Cheers. Have you ever listened to the whole version of the Cheers theme song? Not like just the first verse that they play on TV? Like the whole thing. I'll link it below, but it is kind of dark and a little problematic in 2025. Sure, the beginning is sweet, catchy, and perfect for must-see TV Thursdays, but the rest of the lyrics are like, oh, this is why they need to drink all the time. Gary Portnoy and Judy Hart Angelo penned this perpetual mainstay on lists of great TV theme songs, which basically went, look, your life sucks, so come here and drink about it. Running on NBC from 1982 to 1993, Cheers was set in a bar in Boston where everybody knew your name because they were worried about you spiraling into deep depression. And nobody actually got drunk because that is how alcohol tolerance works. Number 1, I'll Be There For You, the theme song to Friends. Now, every once in a while, I realize that I've forgotten the guitar parts to Bon Jovi's I'll Be There For You. I go to ultimateguitar.com, not a sponsor, but if they wanna, call me. I pull up the first guitar tab I see and I start strumming along just to realize that I've opened the tab to the Rembrandt's theme song to this 1990s sitcom behemoth with the same title. Happens every time. This was a theme song of every millennial's quarter-life crisis. Another NBC sitcom hit from 1994 to 2004. Friends was about 6 broke New Yorkers who somehow had gigantic apartments, proving that either they were secretly rich or Manhattan rent was once powered by witchcraft. Written and performed by the Rembrandts, this catchy intro guitar riff didn't just set millennials' hairstyles on fire. The song took on a life of its own, peaking at number 17 on the US Billboard charts and taking up the top spot on the Billboard US Mainstream Top 40. And there you have it, 10 classic TV theme songs and 10 TV shows that may or may not still hold up. Did you know all the lyrics to any of these? And what other iconic TV theme songs did I miss? Let me know in the comments below. Before we go, here's a clip from my podcast, Comedy on 11, where I talk to my comedian friends about music and comedy.
And to this day, I think he's still making... Oh, he had a hit song with Call Me Lately, or Call Me Maybe. What's her name?
Oh, Carly Rae Jepsen.
They had a song together called
I hate that I know that.
It's Always a Good Time. That's Owl City.
Don't know it.
Okay, it was a big hit, like, I don't know how many years ago.
Okay.
But I guess Owl City is one guy who plays every instrument.
It's like the Bo Burnham of pop
pretty
music.
much.
All right.
And it's a beautiful song called Fireflies.
Okay. I'll have to look it up.
And I can't get enough of it, but it's kind of like, it's not a masculine song by any stretch of the imagination.
You can watch the entire episode here on YouTube or listen on your favorite podcatcher of choice. I'll be dropping new episodes every Tuesday, so please like, subscribe, and share the show. And you can follow me online at _Thom Tran, THOMTRAN, and the show is at Comedy on 11 Pod. Don't forget about my other show, The Story Behind the Strings, where I go in-depth into my guitar collection and give you all the nerdy gear goodness like specs and pricing and the stories, both historic and personal, about the guitars in my collection. Thanks again, and remember to turn the laughs up to 11.